Welcome to the first episode of the On Writing with AI podcast. I'm Abel, and I'm glad you're here. For years, I loved to write, but I didn't always love the extras that came with it. The pressure to say something meaningful, the blank page staring back at me, the mornings where my brain wanted to create, but my energy was somewhere else entirely. If you've ever looked at the screen and thought, I know I've got something to say, I just can't get it out, then you already know exactly what I mean. Writing has always been important to me, not just as a skill, but as a way of thinking, a method for making sense of life, teaching, sharing, and connecting. But no matter how much you love it, writing can sometimes feel overwhelming, like you're carrying ideas you haven't had time to unpack. For a long time, I assumed that was just part of the deal, that wrestling the page was part of the process, that struggling meant you actually cared. Then AI showed up and everything shifted. Not in some dramatic sci-fi kind of way, more like turning on a light in a room. Suddenly, writing didn't feel like a solo sport anymore. It felt like a collaboration, a conversation, a partner in the process instead of a wall I was constantly hitting. Let me tell you a story that really drove this home. Not long ago, I sat down to write a post about something that was on everyone's mind, the fear of AI taking jobs. You know the conversation, it's everywhere. People are worried, and I had a take on it that felt important to share. AI won't take your job, but the person who knows how to use it might. It's a simple idea, but when I tried to write it, my brain felt like it was still waking up. The idea was there, but the words weren't cooperating. I typed a sentence, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. You know the dance. Normally, I'd walk away at that point. Tell myself I'd try again later, maybe grab another coffee. But this time, I decided to try something different. I opened my AI assistant and said, okay, here's the messy version of what I'm trying to say, and I just spilled it out. Grammar issues, broken phrases, half ideas, and all. Just a brain dump of what I meant. Within a few seconds, it handed me back a paragraph. And here's the thing, it didn't nail it right away, not even close. The first draft sounded like AI wrote it. You know what I mean. Those polished, corporate-sounding sentences. The kind of language that feels like it came from a business report instead of a person. Phrases like leverage synergies or optimize outcomes. Okay, it wasn't quite that bad, but you get the idea. It was clean, sure, but it wasn't me. So I tweaked it. I told the AI, no, that's too formal. Make it more conversational, like I'm talking to a friend. And it gave me another version, closer, but still not quite right. So I adjusted again, cut out the fluff, make it more direct, keep it simple. And then, after a few rounds, kind of like what we're doing right now with this script, actually, it finally gave me something that sounded like me. Not a polished robot version of me, not something generic, just me, with the mental clutter cleared out. But here's the part that really mattered. Once I had that clearer version in front of me, I could actually read it back to myself. And when I did, more ideas started coming. I thought, oh, I should add this example, and maybe clarify that point. And this part needs a better transition. The AI didn't just help me write the post, it helped me think through the post. It got me unstuck so I could do the real work. The thinking, the refining, the adding my voice back into it. That's when I realized the ideas were always mine. The voice was always mine. I just finally had a tool that could help me get to the heart of what I meant faster, and with a lot less frustration. It reminded me that writing isn't about being perfect. It's about being present and saying the thing that's true. And sometimes you need a little help clearing the path to get there. Here's the thing most people get wrong about AI and writing. Whenever people hear AI writing, they imagine a machine spitting out generic paragraphs while the human sits there doing nothing. But that's not how it works, not when you use it intentionally. Writing with AI is still writing. You're still the thinker, the storyteller, the voice behind the message. AI just helps with the heavy lifting, the structure, clarity, and the phrasing. Your voice remains the soul of the work. And that's what this podcast is about. We're going to explore what it looks like to build a writing life that truly fits your real life, one that doesn't drain you or stress you out, one that feels sustainable, supportive, and yes, even fun. We'll talk about how to use AI without losing your authenticity, how to keep your voice at the center of everything you create, how to build habits that don't fall apart after 2 days, and how to write things that feel honest, useful, and alive. We'll break down tools, techniques, prompts, mindsets, and moments where AI becomes that creative spark you didn't know you needed. But most importantly, this podcast is about helping you create again, even if you haven't written in years, even if you feel overwhelmed, even if you think you're not a real writer. If you have ideas, if you have stories, if you have things you want to teach or share or make sense of, then this podcast is for you. You don't have to be a tech expert. You don't need fancy tools. You just need a desire to express what's already inside you and a willingness to let AI support you instead of intimidate you. Because writing isn't supposed to be punishment. It's supposed to be your voice finding its way into the world. And if AI helps you do that with a little more ease and a little more clarity, then that's not cheating, that's progress. Oh, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something you can actually use. A tiny win you can take with you today. It's a prompt you can try the next time you sit down to write and feel stuck. Type this, here's the messy version of what I'm trying to say, and then just dump your thoughts here. That's it. No pressure to be polished. No need to organize it perfectly. Just brain dump what you're thinking and let AI help you shape it. But here's the mindset shift that makes this work. Stop asking AI to write for you. Start asking it to think with you. You're not handing over the work. You're starting a conversation. You're using AI as a sounding board, a first draft partner, a clarity tool. You're still the one steering. You're still the one deciding what stays and what goes. You're still the one adding your voice back in. That's the difference between using AI and losing yourself to it. When you approach it that way, as a collaboration, not a replacement, everything changes. You stay in control, you stay creative, and you stay you. So here's my challenge. Try that prompt this week. Pick something you've been meaning to write. A post, an email, a journal entry, anything, and just start messy. See what happens when you let AI help you think it through instead of trying to force it out alone. And then pay attention to what comes after, because that's where the real magic is. That's where your ideas start to expand. That's where your voice comes back stronger. Writing is a skill, but it's also a practice. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to keep showing up, and you don't have to show up alone. If this episode hit home, share it with someone who's been curious about writing with AI, or someone who just needs a little nudge to get their creativity moving again. And if you want more, follow the show so you don't miss what's coming next. Here's a question to leave you with. What's one part of writing that feels heavier than it needs to be? And what would it look like if you didn't have to carry that by yourself anymore? Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.